In this episode on Icy Adventures, join us as we explore the Minnesota Zoo. Finally, it appears that Old Man Winter has lost his grip. A perfect day to visit the Minnesota Zoo. And the total cost for admission was $43 for 2 people, and that included parking. In this episode, I'll be mixing in some photos from 2005 of the outdoor trails so you can get a sense of what summer is like. And as the trail sign says, Tropics Trail. And I can already tell I need to ditch this jacket. And the scent of lush botanical greenery seems to recharge the soul. There's a lot of bronze sculptures throughout the zoo, both indoors and out. As a sculptor myself, I found these to be nicely done and fun to look for. This is one of my favorite exhibits. I could watch these fruit bats for hours. And meet the tapir. As a nocturnal creature, it has the perfect camouflage for even avoiding leopards in the moonlit nights. Wow, those gibbon monkeys are extremely loud. Their calls can reach 100 decibels and have been audible at a distance of 2 miles. That's a comparable volume to a rock concert. Traveling through the tropical rainforest, they can move from branch to branch at a distance of 50 feet at a time and reach speeds of 34 miles an hour. The Komodo Dragon is the largest lizard in the world. They can sprint on land at 12 miles an hour, and males can reach up to 200 pounds. One of the myths of the dragon is that they have a bacteria in their saliva that causes an irreversible infection in their victims that causes death. When in fact, the dragon has venomous glands that are loaded with toxins that lower blood pressure and cause massive bleeding. I remember when this zoo first got their Komodo Dragon. It shared an enclosure with some flamingos. The next morning, the keepers found that dragons will eat flamingos. And since, it's never happened again. I love this place. I have a friend that's an artist that works here. I can't imagine having the opportunity to be here every day. And as a scuba diver who's been away from it all winter long, I have nothing more than admiration for this diver.
You're looking at 5 inches of, actually this is acrylic, it's a type of plastic. It's about 16 times stronger than glass. Now, water is really heavy. If you've ever carried a 5-gallon bucket of water around, that's about 40 pounds. Imagine 85,000 gallons. So we use this really strong stuff called acrylic, very common in aquariums.
As an art fabrication manager of a company that creates and builds exhibits for museums, aquariums, and zoos, I love seeing these impressionable children so engaged and asking so many good questions. The Seahorse is known to be a poor swimmer. The only propulsion they have is a small fin on their back that flutters up to 35 times per second. And in strong currents, they must anchor themselves using their tails to seagrasses, corals, and to even each other. The common sea dragon and the leafy sea dragon is a marine fish and is related to the seahorse. These sea dragons can only be found in the ocean along the southern and western coast of Australia, as they provide the kind of habitat of coral reefs and seaweed beds needed for their survival. They have leaf-like appendages that resemble kelp fronds, and provides a camouflage, giving the sea dragon some protection from predators. I always loved the photo opportunity to shoot these moon jellies, and has now become one of my favorite screensavers here in the studio. We made our way back to the Tropics Trail. There's just so much to take in on this trail, and after the long winter, it's not like we didn't need the exercise. The Minnesota Zoo was opened on May 22nd, 1978. Its footprint is 485 acres, and when opened, it was referred to as the New Zoo. Today, a lot of people still refer to it as the New Zoo. When first built, a vision was born for a zoo like no other. It was a place where visitors could view exotic animals from around the world in natural habitats, in a garden-like setting. Discovery Bay has an interactive estuary and tide pool that allows you to interact with sea life and teaches us how we can make a difference on protecting our oceans. I wondered when watching this grouper if I was watching him or he was watching me. Who really is the observer? I'm not sure if this guy is on a diet or just needs glasses. That's a rock, dude. The leopard shark is found along the coast of Pacific North America, from the U.S. state of Oregon to Mazatlan in Mexico. The leopard shark follows tides onto the mudflat to forage for food, and then retreating just fast enough as to not get stranded as the water recedes. This is the interactive that you can touch the leopard sharks. The Hawaiian monk seal was hunted to near extinction in the late 19th century. These seals have been declining since modern surveying, and is estimated of a population of less than 1,200. And I think Laura made a real connection with this guy. He seemed not to be camera shy and made a lot of eye contact with her. The African penguin rely on warm, sunny beaches to nest, but spend most of their lives swimming in cold, nutrient-rich waters flowing up from Antarctica. African penguins, like most penguin species, are endangered in the wild. Oil spills, historical hunting, and the destruction of their habitat have killed 80% of the population in the last 50 years. And their troubles today comes from a catastrophic drop in numbers of sardines as a result of overfishing and a changing ocean climate. From the sea otter to the river otter. And who doesn't love watching these river otters play? Turning on a dime, it's clear to me that they're always honing their swimming skills, which gives them the title of Best Fishermen in Minnesota. Here, in this Great Lakescape, I find myself in familiar territory. Even as a Minnesotan, I find that these Great Lakes species native to Minnesota to be as exotic as species anywhere else in the world. Habitat restoration and conservation efforts are making the slow-growing prehistoric sturgeon make a strong comeback. Their evolution dates back to the Triassic era, some 245 million years ago. And the same can be said about these garfish. There's no place like home. Before you enter the Minnesota trails, spend some time at the cabin. Here, they always seem to have friendly staff members, willing to answer just about any question you may have. The Canada lynx, well suited for the snow with large paws covered in fur, this cat can keep themselves up on soft powdered snowdrifts, like snowshoes work for us. Minnesota used to have the most lynx in the Great Lakes area, but numbers dropped to near zero in the 1980s, and only recently has there been signs of recovery. Of all the things to see and explore inside the zoo, venture outside and walk the beautifully scaped trails with a lot more animals and sculptures to enjoy. Yes, that sun is getting stronger in the sky, and I feel a kindred connection with the animals as we both share a dose of vitamin D together. I think the winter has been long enough for everyone. Did these brown bears' alarm not go off? I'm not going to wake them. And here are those photos I promised from the summer of 2005. I can't think of a better way to end this episode than with the largest of all cats, the Siberian Tiger. The Minnesota Zoo is the largest environmental education center in the state and has become a worldwide leader in conservation. And in 2005, the Minnesota Zoo was awarded the AZA International Conservation Award. So if you've never visited the Minnesota Zoo, or it's been some time since your last visit, take some time to visit our friends who live there. Hey adventure seekers, I really love sharing these places I like to visit. And if you're not a subscriber already, please subscribe and hit that button for notifications. And hey, thanks for watching.
I see